The story opens in the parking area, one of the hospitals. There is a man who is preparing to do his job by wearing a nurse-style suit. The man, known as Alex Lewis, starts to enter the hospital area. It turns out that he is not a nurse or medical worker in that place, but Alex is a hitman who this time is assigned to finish off his target in one of the rooms. The killing action carried out by Alex took place very quickly. By entangling his target's neck, the hitman was able to kill the man in just a matter of seconds. After completing his task, Alex then left the hospital area and sent a report to his client for his completed task. In the El Paso district of Texas, an FBI agent was seen undercover in front of his target. The target, known as Leon, turned out to be a human trafficker, and this time he was going to sell his daughter, and he sold her to serve his guest. Shortly after, the FBI agent named Vincent Serra began to enter the room, along with the girl who would serve him. In the room, Serra, who basically just wanted to do his job and felt quite uncomfortable with the girl's attitude, could only buy time by continuing to pretend that he still needed to chat before starting their activities. But unexpectedly, the daughter named Beatrice found a listening device under Serra's clothes. Suddenly, Beatrice immediately screamed to tell her father about her findings. Feeling cornered, Leon, who equipped himself with a gun, then tried to threaten the officers and pointed the gun at his own daughter. Not knowing what impulse Beatrice had in her mind, she bit her father's hand while trying to free herself from the threat. Not wanting to waste his chance, Serra quickly tried to secure Leon by pushing him out the window. Unfortunately for the man, Leon, who fell with Serra, died immediately after his body hit the car and made his head scatter. For that incident too, Serra was the perpetrator of the action. He even received a reprimand from his superiors. The man named Gerald Nussbaum strongly regretted Serra's carelessness, especially since they had also been investigating the case for 11 months. On a different day, Alex is seen visiting one of his old friends, who is also a hitman. The stocky man named Mauricio then gave Alex a new job, targeting 2 people at once to be killed. Although Alex initially refused on the grounds that he had retired, he eventually accepted the job. At a hotel, Alex met a client of Mauricio, who would give directions regarding the targets to be executed this time. The man who introduced himself as William Borden also emphasized to Alex to carry out 2 massacres quickly. Not wanting to disappoint his client, Alex then left to immediately start the action. Interestingly, Alex, who has always been professional at work, also has a disease that bothers him. He is known to suffer from Alzheimer's, a disease that makes him often forget things. And this can happen at any time. For that reason too, Alex often writes everything on his left arm. It was intended so that he could easily remember what he had done or had to do later when he forgot. That night, Alex, who was already at his target's house, immediately took action according to William's orders. In this action, Alex wasn't only assigned to immediately finish off his target, but he was asked to first take the flash disk from his target. Even though the target's wife wanted to be caught, in the end, Alex could slaughter the man very quickly. The series of murders that occurred finally made the police call in other agents from Mexico. The agent named Hugo Marquez even seemed to be less in favor of the American police. He even mentioned that handling similar cases would be very fast in his country. On the next day, Beatrice, who had previously been in a shelter with immigrants, was moved by Serra to an orphanage. But unbeknownst to them, there was Alex who had been watching from a distance, because it was known that the target this time was Beatrice. That night, Beatrice, who was sleeping, was suddenly approached by Alex, who was ready to finish her off. But unlike his previous actions, Alex, who just found out that his target was only a child, preferred to retreat and undo these intentions. Alex, who felt tricked, suddenly met William and immediately beat him up. Alex said that he wouldn't want to kill children, even though it was the task given to him. For that reason too, Alex asked William to immediately cancel his contract by threatening him not to give him the flash disk he had gotten. Uniquely, not only refused to kill children, Alex also threatened his client not to mess with Beatrice because he didn't hesitate to kill William if something bad happened to the girl. Receiving threats from Alex, a terrified William then contacted Davana Seelman, the woman who was his superior, as well as the figure who gave William the order to recruit a hitman. Defana is also known as a dirty official who has great authority in El Paso. Back to Alex, who is calming himself down in a bar. He is disturbed by the scene in front of him. A drunk man was seen harassing a lone female. Unable to bear the treatment that the woman was got, Alex, who was upset, then beat the man to helplessness. Seeing Alex's heroic actions, the woman who introduced herself as Maya then thanked him by asking him out on a date. After a long night with Maya, Alex, who wanted to leave the hotel, was startled by the news of Beatrice's murder. Unfortunately, he who easily forgets even thought that he was the one who had killed the girl. But his memory returned after getting an explanation from Maya about their togetherness last night. Realizing he was in danger, Alex, who didn't want anything bad happen to Maya, then reminded her not to leave the hotel room, whatever the reason. Alex immediately left the room to go to his car. And sure enough, Alex, who is very experienced in criminal acts, immediately found out that there was a bomb installed right under his car. Not only that, Alex, who wanted to leave the car, was almost hit by a shot from a mysterious man who wasn't far from him. And unfortunately for Maya, she who had been warned to stay in the hotel room, instead approached Alex to intend to give her medicine that was left behind. As a result, he had to die after being shot by the mysterious man. The shootout then continued, and ended with Alex's victory. Surprisingly, the man who had tried to kill Alex turned out to be Mauricio, an old friend, as well as the person who had given William a job. Previously, Sarah didn't care about his friend anymore. Alex, filled with great anger, then let Mauricio explode in his car along with Maya's body, which he placed in the trunk of the car from the explosion. The police began to get a little bright spot about Beatrice's killer, because the weapons and bullets used were identical to those owned by Mauricio. Despite these indications, Sarah, who is not so sure, still wants to know more. On the other hand, William, who was at the gym, was suddenly approached by Alex, who immediately shot him in the head. He then left the place and hurry up headed to his hiding place. In one of the empty buildings that is also his hiding place, Alex began to open the contents of the flash disk, which he had obtained during the action the other day. From here it was revealed that all this time, the man who owned the flash drive was Ellis Van Camp, who Alex had also killed on a previous assignment. Even in the pen drive, there is also a recording of the chat between Ellis and Devana when they disagree about the woman's dirty business. Not only that, the pen drive that Devana had wanted all this time, it also stored photos and recorded evidence when her son named Randy tricked Beatrice. For this reason, Devana is so ambitious to be able to get the flash disk, including eliminating Ellis and Beatrice as key witnesses in her foul actions. The next day, Sarah, who was still confused by her investigation, was seen discussing the murder case with another agent named Linda. But the unexpected happened. She, who was still puzzled by the murder case, suddenly got a call from Alex. During their conversation, Alex admitted that he was the killer of Ellis and Mauricio, but he wasn't the killer of Beatrice. Even Alex had also left the girl's murder case so that Sarah could investigate thoroughly. However, soon the telephone conversation stopped, along with Linda, who could track Alex's whereabouts. Although they had run to the location of Alex's whereabouts, unfortunately, the two agents were unable to find Alex. At a party, Devana, who didn't want anything bad to happen to Randy, then contacted the police to guard around the area, until Sarah and her flock were sent to guard the place. But unbeknownst to them, Alex had apparently infiltrated the place very easily. Alex could kill Randy, while Sarah, who realized he had missed, then rushed in to find Alex. Interestingly, despite having faced each other directly, Sarah let Alex go free. The agent seemed to understand how the character of the killer in front of him. It was also what drove Sarah's curiosity to dredge up more information from the hitman. Even Hugo, who had pointed his gun at Alex, was asked by Sarah not to shoot Alex. As a result, Alex could easily escape from the location. Unfortunately, Hugo, who was already emotional, even vented by spewing a number of shots at Alex's car. Not satisfied with just killing Randy, Alex now intends to kill Defana at his place of residence. However, it turned out that the big house had been heavily guarded by the police. As a result, a shootout ensued. In this action, Alex actually came face to face with Davana. In fact, he was ready to fire his shot, but luck was still on Davana's side. Alex, who was ready to shoot Davana, instead ran out of bullets in his gun. This was also used by the police to take down Alex. In the interrogation room, Alex, who was still weak, had to receive harsh treatment from police officers in El Paso. A man named Denny didn't even hesitate to beat Alex repeatedly, just to confess all his actions so far. Alex, who still insisted on refusing Denny's orders, instead stated that he only wanted to meet Sarah. The problem is that he understands that in the El Paso Police Department, there is not a single officer who can take his side. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Sarah, who slowly began to be enlightened by the series of murders, finally reported his findings to Gerald. The FBI agent also asked Gerald to transfer Alex to FBI custody. It was with Gerald's approval that Sarah and his team were finally able to bring Alex to the FBI's hospital facility. In the treatment room, Alex began to reveal everything he knew so far to Sarah and her flock, including Davana's involvement as the mastermind behind everything. Unfortunately, Alex, who has flash disk evidence of Davana's crimes, even forgot where he kept it. Moreover, the note on his left arm has also been erasing since his arrival at the hospital. At night, Alex, who was sleeping, was suddenly wake up by the arrival of a doctor. The doctor who came this time turned out to be Davana's messenger, who was deliberately assigned to finish Alex off. Luckily for Alex, he who woke up immediately beat the doctor. Even Alex also made Davana's messenger his prisoner to escape from hospital. Outside the hospital, a group of policemen who were on guard immediately directed their shots at Alex. However, it turns out that the serial killer has swapped his clothes with the doctor. As a result, the sniper instead shot at the doctor, while Alex immediately ran towards one of the cars there. Still don't know what Alex was thinking. He who accidentally got into Sarah's car even had an argument with the FBI agent. Although he couldn't remember many things, Alex suddenly remembered Barry's words, which he believed to be the key to all the problems involving him. All this time, Sarah had revealed the greatest thing in his life. Alex, who was starting to give up, then took the initiative to get out of the car while leaving a message to Sarah to continue fighting the case of Beatrice's death. Surprisingly, Alex, who at that time came out without carrying a weapon, instead received a series of shots from a number of police officers who were around him. And here Alex had to die very tragically. The next day, Sarah, who had looked back at Alex's photos, suddenly remembered Barry's word, which happened to be clearly displayed in one of the photos. Not wanting to waste time, she and Linda then immediately went to the building that had been Alex's hiding place all this time. Until finally, the agent could get the flash disk that Alex had stored right in letter B in the building. Unfortunately for Sarah, the evidence of the crime contained in the flash disk was apparently considered insufficient as evidence of Davana's crime. Even Gerald, who seemed not to be in favor of Sarah, even gave a long leave to him. Instead, so that the FBI agent could calm his mind and not have to interfere in the case anymore. On that night, Davana, who was starting to feel relieved because of Alex's death, was now seen in the middle of taking a bath to relieve her fatigue. However, unexpectedly, a mysterious figure suddenly appeared behind Davana, who immediately slit the woman's throat helplessly. On the other hand, Sarah, who had enjoyed a drink at the bar with Linda, was suddenly shocked by the news of Davana's death, which was allegedly killed by someone who was still mysterious. Interestingly, Linda, who saw the news, seemed not surprised at all, because she already knew the motive and who the perpetrator of the murder of the dirty official was. At the end of the movie, the mysterious figure who had just finished off Davana was seen eliminating the clothes and knives that were evidence of his actions. Surprisingly, the mysterious figure who had always worn a mask turned out to be Hugo. It seems that Hugo has been very furious with the attitude taken by the authorities in America, so he decided to go down to judge Davana in his own way. And the story in this movie ended